I am Zhenya, and we shall talk not about the tools and approaches to development. We heard a lot about them. We'll talk about the main tool of development, which we forget about, which we neglect often, uh, and there is no one who delivers that presentations about that. It's your brain, the developer's brain, and what can we do with our brain? That's the matter of my presentation. How to measure it, how to boost it. Let's make a small experiment. I'll ask you two questions. You can answer them or not answer them. The important thing is what you are going to feel. Question one. No one answers, but no matter whether you wanted to answer or not, wanted to think or not, wanted to spend effort or not, the answer is in your brain automatically. And remember that process. You do not control it. Now, another question. In this case, 100% said, well, we are not going to calculate at all. Yes. Some people wanted to calculate, but those who did it felt some strain, like lifting heavy things. Why it happens this way? According to research, we have two systems in our head, System 1 and System 2. System 1 works automatically, without effort, each and every time when in your previous experience you have a ready-made answer. System 2 works when you don't know the answer or you decided.
Через 5 минут.
Ну, смотри. So development of software is one of the professions when your wages. System 2. David Cunning told us about it. 95% of the people do not switch their System 2 on. Most of the people are zombies. They don't think at all because it's difficult. It requires power, energy, and people prefer to just to rotate without changing the speed or direction of rotation. A person should want to switch on System 2, and he should be able to do that. This is the part of the brain which is responsible for System 2. Animals do not have this part of human brain. It is capable of taking complex decision. It requires effort to be switched on, and it can easily be suppressed. So why can we think? All kind of algorithms and developments require thinking. First, you have to decide. You have to be motivated to think. Second, you must have a brain. If you are sick, so your brain rotates slowly. So you have to be healthy and powerful. Your brain shouldn't be suppressed. You should not be under stress. So, no matter what kind of tools we use, Trail, Jira, Asana, Agile, Waterfall, or anything else, we need tools, and the main tool of ours is our own body. And do you know how much time we spend on tuning, repairing, upgrading your car, or upgrading your PC, finding new software? How how much time and effort we spend on such things. This is the way it works. So, what do we usually do? Once upon a time, Sasha, Pasha, and myself decided to think what we can do to solve this technological question. We started measuring and thinking, and we have important things in the market. For the first time in history, a human being and his way of life can be digitized. Like a server, you can have a lot of sensors and applications and start monitoring yourself. Get alerts, and one thing is missing, a core metric, like if I took some meat in, so whether I feel better or not now. Moreover, we collected all kind of data, read about 1,500 researchers, and we found out that everything affects our health, our perception of happiness and productivity. For example, it's scientifically proved that love, $1 million, a car, a new house, a misfortune affects our happiness by 10% only. 40% of day-to-day happiness depends on food and sleep. Productivity also, of course, we have some genetic peculiarities, but, well, you have to get new information, your brain must work, and the core metric is required. And we found the way of measuring. There is a methodology developed for spacemen and professional sport is cardio intervallographics. You can go and measure your stress and power. It's your adaptation potential. If you have a liver problem, it can be reflected. If you are just tired, it can be reflected on stress, mental and physical. Burnout can be predicted. Soon you will be out and you would be able to work. You can predict sore throat 2 to 3 days in advance. It's physiological and mental level. These are the stresses and the power. What is interesting here for business? If human performance doesn't depend on stress and energy, then it means that he doesn't care at all. Therefore, if there is no such correlation, it means that a person is not motivated. If correlation exists, then a person is motivated. We have some data collected about their activity, health, sleep, environment, food, and we try to find correlation between them, dependencies. For example, how many hours he slept, a lot of different pieces of information. This is the way we look at each person. And analysts, we have a lot of parameters in our dashboard. The main interesting thing is the takeaways. What did we learn? This is true. All this is true. Our physical activity affects our general well-being, and this is true. The fact that, and we all know that pretty well. We are.
If we watch ourselves, it was an interesting article, but there's a study that was held in Boston. So the xenon effect was proven. So if you watch it by way of watching the way atoms behave, you can change their composition. It means that when we're watching something, then you can change what you're watching, the object of your watch. And so that is why stress in your activities, and it's not only. So we've learned to forecast a cold. And that's where people do not believe you'll get a cold, you'll catch a cold. So go sleep, eat, take vitamins. No, I'm not going to catch a cold. I feel fine in 3 days' time. So you're sick, right? So lots of cases like that. Then more than 50% of people, they depend on climate. Yes, climate dependent people. So they're not productive. They become, and so then even the time they spend on social networks, depending on the pressure, temperature, etc. And so then people are dependent on climate and how our vascular system is affected. And some say that this is the erroneous correlation. But the data say that there is a relationship. We know it was difficult for us. So this information that we're collecting everything. So they're different. So then some are not pertinent, some less pertinent. For example, growth is more pertinent. So then number of steps is less relevant. heart rate is less relevant. So yeah, there's different timelines to check heartbeat. So for example, if you check the variability of your heart rate, and so it tells you about lots of different things. So it tells you, it's very telling. So one flow of data so then breaks up into many flows of data, then they start to correlate. So the variability of heart rate so can tell you how fit you are. Then the next challenge is the analysis of the data. So first it's causal conditioning. So how so that you spoke to your ex yesterday, and so what's the chance that you'll have a headache tomorrow? And then so yeah, just to move around this, push around those windows, and the machine does not understand that this correlation is wrong, this correlation is right. And so it says that my weight depends on the temperature outside. Yeah. So this correlation is a multi-layered, because when there's no rain, I run more often, and I jog more often, and then I start losing weight. That's the logic of this correlation. So these long chains can be very long. We had a case when a lady could not lose any weight, and she was on a diet, but she ate a lot, and so she was gaining weight. And so then the calories that she ingested dependent on how long she sleeps. How long she sleeps depends on when she goes to bed. When she goes to bed, dependent that she watches too much movies, and so she comes in, starts watching movie, eats, and that's how she starts gaining weight, putting on weight. So just sit and watch the Game of Thrones, and she started to lose weight because she refused to watch the Game of Thrones, and she started to sleep well. Yeah, and so then during night, so then she generated a lot of special hormone that made you eat more. But if you slept more, then you started losing weight. Or just some people just would wake up in the middle of the night, and because they were hungry, and so they panicked, and he wasn't protein diet, and he needed more carbohydrates, and so we added some carbohydrate and started to sleep well. That's it. But the everyday life tells us that people are so different. So some should run for stress, some should do yoga or box for stress. So they react differently, respond differently. So this is why this agile and so metrics and the hypothesis, we just apply them to human being. So the same approach, what you've been told about the software, hardware systems, you can apply to yourself, and it will work. And it is true that at the end of the day, in order to make people happier, stronger, and healthier, so because all our employees are our clients, so once when we couldn't work, too tired, but didn't want to go home, we decided to apply some business metrics on the way we feel. And it turned out that our programming engineers, so the number of the lines of code that he writes depends whether he attends if he attends this fitness room or not. Then we have analysts, for example, so especially trained people who understand physiology and the data analysis. And we have one analyst, and so the number of messages sent to the clients and how she feels. Correlation. Everything depends on her subjective. So then she's happy, she writes. She's not happy, she doesn't write any messages. So what kind of employee is that? So we fired her. And then we look at another analyst, and she's right. So she has some energy, certain level of energy. It's not flat, it's high, it's charged, and so there's, as long as she is strong and energetic, so she writes messages. But what does it depend on? So again, traditionally, so how much she sleeps. And so when she turns off her computer after 9, and then she goes to bed, we say, Katya, so you cannot work in our system after 9 because we have some technical maintenance issues. And so immediately, so once she realized that it should not work, and she cannot work after 9, and she went to bed earlier, so then she started to write more messages. With top managers, it's complicated. Why? Your metric is so you don't write any code. You don't know how to measure it. And so I measure it by procrastination. Procrastination is all talks. The moment I start talking to someone more in Facebook or with clients or with my employees, whatever, it means that that I'm procrastinating. I'm putting off. I'm putting off the time when I just need more energy just to sit down and start working on the issue on hand. And that's why procrastination is bad. So running helps me. So jogging helps me. So because it cleans my brain, and that is why. So I can see my rescue time. So that's what I do at my computer. We do it in the middle of the day. So that's when I jogged. But then I do much more productively afterwards. That's what our life looks like after. So then all our employees have started to use our applications. So we just go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep, and we go on vacation when it's time to go on vacation, and that's how it works. And so just go on vacation, even if you have no strength left. So if you imagine that in any team, so that 20% of people, 80% of results depend on them, and the 20-80 Pareto's rule. And so then it would be great, for example, just to design a new tool rather than so just to make these people twice as efficient, twice as much thinking. And this is great. And so now we're just starting because this Pareto rule works. So if those 20% that generate 80% results would become twice as efficient. Then another thing. So they want us to prevent that the person can burn out, actually, especially in so really there are lots of burnouts. So we need just to send a person on a vacation. And nothing helps. People do not get any more. They're not even productive. And so they're not getting any more productive. That's why they need just to put themselves on a diet or rest more, just send them on vacation, etc. Because we're paying him salary so that he works hard. And so, for example, we just bought fitness tickets. No one goes to fitness exercises. Agile has been introduced, but the stress in the company has not diminished. Maybe it's even gone up. And so that's why there's a. So now you should know when a person is going to burn out. You should know when to send him on vacation, and just that to prevent him from getting sick. And evaluate corporate events, but actually effectively. So there are lots of free applications, lots of gadgets. Read out. So this thing is only 3,000 rubles, and there are lots of them. And so there are so many. And so my message is, my takeaway that you should start studying yourself, learning more about yourself, so knowing yourself. And so our application is free too. So even if you start watching yourself, then you look at yourself, you know what's happened to you. So for example, I quarreled with my boss, so then I failed to do this. That's when I went to the fitness room, and thus you are beginning to bring yourself to feel your body, to learn your body, to know your body better. And so then thus you know that you start practicing good health habits, and your brain starts to change your life, because your brain now has a metric or metrics. And so once you've given your brain an order, so thus your brain will start thinking of ways how to carry this order out. That's it. And so people just get sick. So when you wake up and you weight 200 kilograms, and so whatever. So they try. So there are lots of nice gadgets, applications. Measure yourself and watch yourself. Thank you. When we talk, so our employees, so they are psycho fans, so they love this methodology, and so but the whole company is watching my weight, and so every employee of my company knows how much I weigh. Actually, I lost 8 kilograms and I stopped drinking because they're watching me. And that's why I have to comply. So they don't know whether you just I watch Pornhub or I watch the Game of Thrones. They know that this is entertainment. That's what they know. They're not just looking over my shoulder. But when we talk to different companies, So we are not telling the company when their employees go to bed. So we just would tell them an average level of stress. So you need just to put this guy on a diet, to send this guy on a vacation. Data nudism movement, very good. The gyroscope dot pair that allows to create just a handsome, visually beautiful, handsome guy, and so you can just go look at yourself, and and so people just don't care if everyone knows about their personal information. So they think it's good if someone watching you, because it's a good kind of help to feel to start taking care of yourself. So we have premium tariffs, so people pay money for a personal analytic who every day is thinking about you, how to make sure that his productivity, his efficiency goes up. And so they love it. And so just I spent 3 days, I analyzed your data, personal data, and now just do this and this. Some people like it when someone is watching them, taking care of them, and wants them to be better. Then restore your password. So every free user is a gigabyte of data. All these gadgets, so they're not accurate. You're saying yes, everything is fine, the correlation is there, but so if you use magic, so maybe you can. What is statistical significance of your data? Difficult to believe. It's true that so the variability of the heart rate is very sensitive to measurements. So now our applications is plasmography or something, and this with the help of a camera. So it's a kind of ultrasound. So the sensitivity is high, whether the user is doing it right, whether he is lying, sitting, talking. To get good results, you need to properly measure yourself. But if you measure yourself correctly, then with our filtration and algorithms, so we have 5-7% error margin. And from so breast straps like Polar, and so which are quite enough, very accurate that it can be used even in medical studies and medical trials. But we have our own so device, so the clip is on your earlobe, so which is as accurate. So clip on your earlobe is easy. So the last question, please, and then short answer. My question was, to what extent your data is authentic? Because a guy can lie to you. That's it. You understand? That's why we say that everyone is lying, like in Dr. House series. So how do you know that your analysts give correct recommendations? So because there are target indicators like metrics. So then you have a hypothesis, and then what we want to change, and then the importance of this change. If this recommendation works, then it's good. People are different. It's not like in medicine. You say you're great. Let's see what works for you. So that would be logical. It's an IT approach to any guy. So it works out that you. So that's why you hope that you are restoring causal conditioning, cause and effect relationship, right? So we know when you go to bed, you know when you wake up, and this is so. We may not know everything. So there's this causal conditioning relationship, but with all this can make assumptions. So let's do this or that. Can always make assumptions. So for example, the guy who woke up scared and saw too much carbohydrates before he went to bed, and so the guy just went for an MRI and an ultrasound CT, but it never worked. But she because he was not